Hey y'all, happy Tuesday! And happy last day of June, which means it's the last day of the first half of the year. This is a quick reminder, if you have an eBay store coupon, use it today because it goes away. Use it or lose it. And then you'll get a new one tomorrow. So I'm happy to say 2026 is going great. So far this year, we've sold 2,301 items, and we have an average sale price of $20.93, which is far higher than how I started the year. So I think that's progress. I'm very pleased with how this year has gone so far, and I think it's only up from here. Now we have to pull this weekend's orders. That's right, it's Tuesday, and I'm pulling my weekend orders because I had another terrible migraine attack yesterday. Basically started at 2:30 in the morning, and it didn't go away until I woke up this morning, so sometime while I was sleeping last night. And unfortunately, on days like that, I just can't do anything. Good thing is, I'm able to catch up today. And we have 42 items to pack, so this video is actually going to go over two videos. The first thing that we sold are these vintage woven placemats that I got at a yard sale for 50 cents. They sold for $13.56. Now we're heading over here to my party box. I decided I was going to put all my cake decorations and things like that in this box because it was just sitting here not being used. And they're lightweight enough to go up there and not jeopardize anything. But this is a set of 6 champagne party poppers. I remember having these when I was a kid. I paid 50 cents at an estate sale. They sold for $11.67. Now we're going over to our greeting cards. I still have not figured out what I'm going to do about these large pennants, but I will shortly, hopefully. So we sold some new old stock greeting cards, and the brand is Current. And I actually picked these up at a recent highway sale, but I've picked these up from estate sales before, and so I know it's a good brand and that they actually sell pretty quick for me. So I had no problem paying a quarter for them. Yeah, a quarter for new old stock cards. And there's 20 in the package. They sold for $6. I accepted an offer. Next up, we have a patch going out, and this came from a yard sale we went to last weekend. I bought a whole grocery bag full of patches, or what I thought were patches, for $4, and it turns out there were only actually 8 real patches in there. The rest were embroidered hats that had been cut up, so that kind of stunk. But I only paid $4 for the bag, so 50 cents for this Harley patch. It sold for $11.95, so I'm already in the profit. It still wasn't a bad buy. Now we have to climb up to get some Christmas decorations down, and these are 2 little wooden figures, hand-painted, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. Paid $1, they sold for $9.45. Now, on a recent trip to the bins, I actually didn't find that much stuff, but I was very excited when I found this sealed cube of Post-it notes that are pharmaceutical branded. There's 5 tablets here, basically, of them, and they're still sealed. Nasacort, which is a prescription medication. I paid 75 cents for them by weight. They sold for $21.95. So definitely a good flip and more than I spent at the bins that entire trip. So everything else that got that day is just profit. Now we have some mugs going out, and I found these at a yard sale about a month ago, and they're really heavy, you guys, but when I saw that they were signed on the bottom, I thought they might be worth checking out, and the comps were actually really good on them. They're made by Rodolfo Padillo, and there's actually quite a few of these sets that have sold on eBay. I paid $5. They sold for $38.97. I did send an offer, and the buyer accepted. They actually can comp out as high as 60, but they take up a lot of space, so I was happy to move them along. Now, this item is interesting. It's a vintage apron smock type thing, kind of what you'd picture like somebody in the 80s or 90s that was cutting little kids' hair wearing. It's got that vest design. I'll put a picture up. But it is obviously Sylvester from Looney Tunes themed, and it was definitely worth a pickup at $1 at a yard sale. It sold for $10.80. Stuff like that may not be extremely profitable, but it does all add up, and I think it's neat. I like having neat and interesting things in my store, in case you haven't noticed. Next up, we have some darts going out. There are 6 in here, and I found them in the garage at an estate sale. Paid 50 cents for them, and this was well over a year ago when I first started reselling, so probably wouldn't pick them up again unless they were specially branded or something, but they sold for $8.61 on sale. Next up, we have a baseball cap going out, and this was a bins find, so only about a quarter into it. Hats are actually very lightweight items, so if you can find them at the bins, definitely a great pickup as long as they're relatively clean or can easily be cleaned. This is tailor-made, and it's like a flex fit type hat. TaylorMade, the golf company, of course. And we paid $0.25 for it. It sold for $8 on offer. Now we're heading over to our playing cards, and we did sell a deck of playing cards. This is one that was listed, I think, fairly recently, but I've had it for quite some time in my death pile. So happy to see it's moving out. It's W.C. Fields, which I think he was a comedian, but don't hold me to it. It's a whole deck of playing cards, you know, in honor of him and the characters and stuff that are attributed to him. I paid $0.25 for them at the bins. They sold for $8. Now we're heading over to get a picture frame. And it's funny because I don't sell a lot of picture frames, so I try not to pick up a lot, but if it's interesting, I will. And I don't sell a lot of Disney stuff. It just doesn't move fast for me, but I couldn't resist these 7 dwarves, even though there's little damage on one of their nose. It's made by Burns. We got this at an estate sale for only $1. Got to pick it up for $1, and somebody sent me a $12 offer, and I accepted. Now we've got to climb up to our creative memory shelf. We have some page protectors going out, and I gotta make sure I grab the right ones because this isn't the kind that I have a bunch of. It's like a different packaging on the front. So yep, these are the ones that I'm looking for. They're made the same year, but they had like different images on the front. So it was kind of like you're gonna get whatever I pull type thing, but I paid 50 cents for the 2 and they sold for $21.90. Something to keep in mind, if something's going to look different than what the pictures show you, make sure you mark that in the listing. Now we have an ice cube tray going out. This is definitely vintage and it's really cool. It's going to Hawaii, which I would think in Hawaii you need a lot of ice. I paid $1 at a yard sale. It sold for $17.95. And just as I said, I don't sell a lot of picture frames. Here's a lot of picture frames going out. I grabbed all these little brass frames at an estate sale for $0.25 piece. There's 3 here. And I put little Sears and Roebuck catalog pictures in them. Paid 75 cents. They sold for $21.21 for the set of 3. Now we have a set of salt and pepper shakers going out, and I actually really like these ones. Got these recently at a yard sale, and the lady had $1 a piece on a bunch of different ones, and I only picked up a few that I really liked. But these are made by Rosemead, and apparently that is a good brand on salt and pepper shakers because I had another set and they sold quick as well. Paid $1, they sold for $25.46. Now we got a few Pez dispensers going out. Gotta grab some baseballs here. This person is picking up a Seattle Mariners and a Texas Rangers baseball. Personal items as always. They sold for $9.90 combined. Now this next item I thought was kind of interesting. It was pretty, so I was gonna pick it up for $1. It's a little Fenton oil and vinegar type hobnail jar. The funny thing is, this person had these like spun aluminum canisters that look almost exactly like that at their sale, and she wanted 25 bucks for them. But then here's a Fenton piece. She only had $1 on it. Blew my mind. But there is a little bit of damage to the stopper, so I made sure to notate that in the listing and put a little bit of a price discount because of that. I paid $1. It sold for $10.80. After a little bit of a discount, I think I sent them an offer on it. Now we have a piece of Tupperware going out. Man, we're hitting all the targets. Creative Memories, Pez, Tupperware. This is a little scoop that you'd put like in a sugar canister. Scoop, scoop, scoop. I thought it was pretty cool. Picked it up for $0.25 at an estate sale and it sold for $10.16. And our last item going out for this video, which means we are only halfway through our orders from the weekend, is going to be another patch. And this one I got at that yard sale where I bought a whole box of patches from the guy who was like 2 booths down at a community yard sale for like $5. We got it from him, and this one is loose. A lot of the ones we got from him were new old stock, but this is Luray Caverns, which is a really cool place in Virginia. If you ever have the opportunity to visit, you should. I paid $0.25. It sold for $8.95. So this is when I would normally tell you what all this stuff sold for, but you're gonna have to wait and come back and watch my next video to see what else we sold and what it sold for. So we'll see you guys soon with the next video of what sold.